Happiness is its own reward and it speaks for itself. That's what I want to talk about today, especially how pity can be misplaced and actually detract from our happiness, from the purest happiness. On Friday, I've got an interview coming out with Derek Burrows, independent journalist of the Conscious Resistance, talking about his struggle with drugs and going to prison. So get into that on Friday. But for now, let's begin.
This is a beautiful thought.
Welcome, beautiful thinkers. I was thinking today about smart pity. So my buddy was telling me a story about driving in the car with somebody and they pointed at a bunch of apartments and they said, I can't help but feel sorry for those people living in those tiny apartments. And my buddy was like, that's funny. Some of the best times in my life were living in a little apartment in La Condesa in Mexico City. And it's funny, when you express pity for somebody like that, you can put a mask over it and say it's actually compassion. But it doesn't get that far. Because real empathy, of course, would be saying, well, I wonder what it's like for people in those apartments. I wonder what the good and bad aspects of that are, what they enjoy about their life are. But for other people, they say, well, my priority is having space. And so if people don't have that, then they must be miserable. Another perspective is, when you do this, if a person expresses pity in that way, they're actually using another person. It's a kind of objectification. It's like, I'm going to try to step myself up by putting others down. Others must be so miserable, and so I can feel good about myself. It's a little trick to feeling superior. And it's funny because it doesn't matter what stage of life you are, you can always find a way to feel superior if you want to. There's a story about a fellow, I think he was Irish, and he went to the temple to Wat Tam Krabok in Thailand, and he'd been an alcoholic for years, and at some stages in his life he had nothing to his name, nothing to show, but sitting in a gutter, he could still look at others and say, I feel sorry for that guy. Going to work every day. He's not true to himself. Not like me. And then, of course, taking the cutting medicine, Yadat, in Wat Tam Krabok, and vomiting his little guts out, he quickly realized, hang on, I'm not better or worse than anybody else. I just am. My friend Kari is deaf, and once we're standing outside the casino, and this British fellow saw us signing to each other, and he came up and started talking, and typical British fashion, he must have apologized about 10 or 20 times during that conversation. He's like, I'm so sorry you're deaf. And he was telling this story about how he was in love with this deaf woman in his hometown and these other things, and how sweet she was. And this guy, actually, sweet British guy, like pure intentions, a pure heart, but the way he was expressing himself by saying, I'm sorry for your condition, actually can put people in an uncomfortable position. And you feel pity for somebody in the wrong way like that. Kari said to me once, it's so funny. People saying to me that they're sorry for what I am. Might not occur to the rest of us, but deaf people have their own community, their own culture. Of course, they have, in each country or region, they have their own language. And some of them even kind of proud of it, like they enjoy what they are. Kari said to me once, people say that to me. They say I'm sorry. I don't want their pity. He said, that's why I like playing poker, because nobody cares about what I am. Nobody cares about my condition. They just want to take my money, which is so funny, because you would think that trying to take somebody's money would be dehumanizing. Actually, seeing them as an equal, as a competitor, just like anybody else, much more humanizing than objectifying by giving somebody pity. It's interesting. Sometimes I see people on Facebook and they post stuff like, I have more fun than you. My friends and I have more fun than you. And they post their photos and they're at a party or whatever in a nightclub. And sometimes when I see that, I think, I wonder about that person, because that's the kind of thing you post when you're not actually happy, when you're not having fun. Because there's a key lesson. You do not need to dump on other people to feel good about yourself. You can feel good about yourself. You can feel good about the things you have. You feel grateful about the things you have without looking at them and saying, I'm better than them because I have something that they don't. Happiness is its own reward. Happiness speaks for itself. The thing speaks for itself, and it needs no justification. It needs no reason. It needs no ego construct. And happiness is yours. So, exercise smart pity. Look at your own ego constructs and look at how you can be happy of itself. And when you do pity somebody, you don't need to show it off like a badge. If you feel pity for somebody, then you can do something wonderful and act on it to help them, to improve their lives. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for thinking beautifully. Thank you for being discerning in your own actions and trying to place yourself humbly at the same level as other people so you can enjoy their company purely. Have a great day. I'll talk to you soon.
A beautiful thought.
Thank you for listening. Now, if you need a little help getting a perspective, a different, fresh perspective on a problem, maybe I can help with that. Go to beautifulpodcast.com. You see at the top, it's got the link for CBT sessions, and you can schedule a session with me so we can listen closely to your problem, explore it, ask some questions, look at it from several angles, and work on an action plan so you can move forward with greater fulfillment. Thank you and have a wonderful day.